Good morning. Welcome to Unity Longmont Spiritual Center on the 9th of October, 2022. And we are blessed to have Christina Hildebrandt with us to provide music on her harp. And Jenny Hooks will provide our talk and meditation. Welcome to both of you and everyone attending. And Christina, will start with you. Thank you, Christina, for that beautiful lead in to our service. It's at this time that we go into prayer by taking a breath together, opening our hearts and minds. Beloved presence, everywhere present. We are often in a time of transition, and this season going from the hot to the crisp cool reminds us of that. And just like the trees whose colors become brilliant, we also become brilliant when we rest into our divinity and recognize the divinity of all others. We celebrate this possibility together, and so it is. And we will hear from Christina again. Heavenly as always, Christina. Thank you. So let us welcome Jenny Hooks. Good morning, Jenny.
Good morning, Jai Gurudev. I greet the divine within you, as Deva referred to in her opening prayer, that there is divinity within each and every one of us. And so from the divine within me, I greet the divine within you. I was thinking when Deva was speaking, I thought, oh, well, we could just sit and meditate for the next 20 minutes on what Deva said, because the topic that I was focused on for this talk is change. And I thought, oh, well, what a good lead in. And I felt the music as Christina was playing. You know, there's a quote by Benjamin Franklin about there is nothing in this world. Well, in this world, nothing is certain except for death and taxes. And I thought, well, that's just not true, because what is certain is the divine and the divinity and God's love for each and every one of us, no matter how stupid, how many bad choices we make, how we repeat the same mistake over and over again. God's love for each and every one of us does not change. And while I may be able to see the divine in some, there's a few people in this world that I struggle, and I just have to settle for God's in there somewhere, as opposed to being able to see their light. Maybe I'll be enlightened someday, but right now I just have to know it to be true, whether it is a spider crawling in the window, every living thing, every blade of grass, the divine is there. And when I have that meditation in the morning and I have that awareness to start my day, it's a better day than on days when I get up and brush my teeth and say, oh my gosh, I'm running late and I'm out the door. Just that reminder that God is everywhere. In the puddle that I step in, or the piece of gum that I step in the parking lot, God is there. I have to just look up and say, I don't know what you're thinking, but you know, I liked you better when you weren't on the bottom of my shoe. But here we go through this day. And for me, that awareness of God's divinity throughout my day gives me a better sense of humor. So when those little irritants happen, I'm able to laugh a little bit more about them, rather than cuss and yell at people or get all grumpy and negative. I can stay positive throughout the day, even when I spill something on my shirt at lunch and I'm a mess for the afternoon, or I stop at Ross's to buy the cheapest shirt I can find for the rest of the day. I've stopped eating lunch in my car because it was costing too many new shirts. To start this talk, I'm going to start with a prayer. Ajnana timirandasya jnana jana shalakaya shakshu unmilitam yena tasme Shri Guruve namaha. My salutations to that reverential teacher who opened my eyes by applying the divine colirum of self-knowledge in my eyes, which had been blinded by the cataract of ignorance. And so hopefully the divine will remove my blindness as I speak to you and speak through me, and you will hear the words of the divine speaking to your soul. And though we're going to talk about change today, I would be remiss without reminding you that what does not change is your soul, your Atma, your divinity. And our call in this life is to awaken that, to awaken the divine within us, because it's like, you know, how a mirror that's been in an attic for years and years is covered with layers and layers of dust. So our soul, from living in the material world, is covered with these many layers of dust and grime. And to awaken that divinity, that divine, that light within us, so that it can shine for everyone to see, is to remove those layers of dust. And change, interestingly enough, whether we like it or not, is a vehicle for us to remove those layers of dust, because when change comes up and we hang on to them or we resist them, we get so many opportunities to learn about ourselves and develop our awareness. Change brings the opportunity for the awareness of just what are we attached to. So we might not think anything about water. We might not think that we're attached to it. But if we own a farm and we're in a drought, in the midst of a drought, and our plants aren't growing and we're losing our livelihood because we have no corn and wheat and soybeans to sell, we realized how attached we are to water, and we appreciate it more. Even people living in the city, when there's a drought and they say you have to limit your watering your lawn, and they ask people to limit their showers to every other day or only 5 minutes a day, we become suddenly how attached to water that we are. And even the changing seasons, you know, the heat goes away and we're enjoying this cool, crisp air, but there's a bittersweet feeling to it unless we love the winter just as much as we love the fall. We love the snow and all that comes with it, the shoveling and the wind and the boots and the clothes. And so here we are on this journey, and change gives us the opportunity to become aware of all of our attachments. What triggers us? What pisses us off? And where do we find help to change, to let go of these attachments? So if I'm carrying a box of bricks and you say, let it go, I set that box right down and I have no problem with that. But if my mind is carrying a backpack full of bricks of anger and resentment, how do I take off that backpack and let it go? And it doesn't seem, for me, anyway, and maybe for you as well, I don't know how to take it off and drop it all at once. For me, it's bit by bit, piece by piece, an awareness of something, and I take one brick out and I put it down. And then time goes on and I get triggered and I am willing to look at another issue, and I take another brick out and I put it down. And there is a way to speed up the process. There may be many ways, but I only know a few. And one is asking for help from the divine. Help me to see what I'm carrying. I don't even know what's in this bag sometimes until somebody says or does something, and suddenly I'm like, damn it. And, you know, I get charged up and I think, oh, I guess there's a brick in there that needs to be unloaded. And I think in God's infinite wisdom and mercy, I don't know what would happen to me if I could put all the bricks down at once. Would I not be grounded at all? Would I be walking a foot above the ground? Would I not be able to, you know, who knows? So I just have to trust in the process that today there's some gunk from childhood, from previous relationships, previous jobs, whatever it is, that I need to let go of. And I have no clue how to take my fist and open my hand and drop it the way I can drop a brick or some other material object that I no longer want to carry around with me. So I have a story for you from Guruji's commentary in the Bhagavad Gita. And it's so beautiful because any place the word Krishna is mentioned, you can also replace that with Jesus or whoever it is that you identify with in your heart, the person that you go to in prayer when you ask for help, because it's all the same. It's all one, and it's all love, because what is God if not pure love? So I'm going to read you the verse that this came from, only because it's one of my favorite verses. And I think it's so beautiful how little we need to offer to God. He who offers to me with devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, that offering of love from the striving soul is acceptable to me. And our souls are striving. Our souls are striving to awaken so that they can be fully present in the world and have all of that grime removed. And so to me, it just shows of such a loving and merciful God who says that anything we offer to God, a flower, a leaf, it's acceptable to me. And it makes me tear up. It's the sweetness of it. So in this story, the whole Bhagavad Gita is about this war between the Pandavas and the Kauravas, and it's over land, and it's over kingdom, and it's seemingly over material wealth. Prior to the war, Duryodhana, the king of the Kauravas, says that he's going to, if the Pandavas go away for 13 years in exile, when they come back, he will give them half the kingdom. And so, well, we'll hear the story of what happens here. When Drupada and the Pandavas were in exile in the forest, the wicked-minded Duryodhana wanted to get them cursed. He knew that if sage Durvasa cursed them, he would burn them to ashes. So Duryodhana went to sage Durvasa and said, "Sage Durvasa, I have one great favor to ask of you. Please, can you go to my cousin and request food from them? But you must go to the house and request food from them only when they have finished eating, not before. And take all your pupils and all your disciples with you." Sage Durvasa, who had thousands of disciples, replied, "Okay, I'll go." The Pandavas had a bull, the Akshaya Patra, that was given to them by the sun god, and whatever they wished to eat would appear inside the bowl, but only once a day. One day, when the Pandavas had finished eating and they were preparing to return to their daily duties, they saw sage Durvasa coming with his big group of people. They greeted him and paid their respects to him. The sage said, "We were passing by and we wish to eat at your place." Yudhishthira said, "Yes, please do." But Drupada was a bit taken aback because she knew they had just finished eating and that there was no food in their cottage. Everybody knew about Durvasa's anger. He was so short-tempered that if he got angry, he would burn not only the Pandavas, but the whole forest. So Draupadi didn't know what to do. Meanwhile, the sage said to Yudhishthira, "Please prepare food for me and my disciples. We will go to the river and do our ablutions and our sanjaya, and then we will come for food at your place." Then all of them went to the river. Now there's some change. They got up that morning and thought they were going to have an average day and just go about their normal daily activities. And this sage comes with a known bad temper and thousands of people and said, "We'll be back in about an hour or two for a meal. Have it all ready for us." So, there's a test for you. Meanwhile, Draupadi didn't know what to do because there was not even a single grain of rice in the house. How could she feed all these people? She knew that the only person who could save her at that time was her best friend, Krishna. She prayed to Krishna, "Lord, you saved me when they were trying to remove the clothes from me. Oh, Krishna, I take refuge at your feet. Please rescue me from this calamity, just as you delivered me before when the evil Dushana was trying to remove my clothes. At that time, Krishna was with his wife Rukmini and Dwarka. Hearing the prayers of Draupadi, he left in a rush to see her, knowing that something was wrong. He didn't even tell anyone where he was going. Krishna immediately appeared at Draupadi's cottage. He had not needed to take any vehicle because for God himself, there is no time, there is no space. When Draupadi saw Krishna, she felt relieved. Krishna said, Draupadi, I'm so hungry. Please give me something to eat. At that moment, Draupadi was probably thinking, what's wrong with these people? They all want to eat. If they would have just come earlier, everything would have been provided through the Akshaya Patra. But the Akshaya Patra can only give food once a day, and we have already eaten from it. So there is not a single grain of rice in the house, nothing. Now here, I'm just going to tell you the way my mind works. I think Krishna is going to come, touch that bowl, and it's going to produce enough food for all the people, because I have in my mind only one solution. And that's where I get stuck in the world with change. I think I know what the solution is, and it doesn't go the way I think. And then I get angry, frustrated, crazy, all the things that my silly little mind does. Draupadi said to Krishna, I don't have anything to offer you. I'm sorry. But Krishna kept insisting that he was hungry. He said if she would just give him some water, that would be enough. At this point, Draupadi's ready to pull her hair out. Finally, Krishna asked, bring me the Akshaya Patra. Let me see if there is really nothing or if you're just lying to me. Draupadi brought the bowl to him, and as he was looking in the bowl, he saw that there was something left from the food that they had eaten, a single leaf. When he saw the leaf, he got very excited and said, Draupadi, you said there was nothing left in this bowl. Look, there's a leaf. He took the leaf, looking there. Look, there is a leaf, Draupadi, and this leaf is enough to satisfy all the three worlds. Saying that, he put the leaf in his mouth and ate it. At the same time, a strange thing happened to sage Durvasa and his disciples. When they had finished doing their ablutions in the river, all of a sudden, their stomachs were super full. Their stomachs were so extremely full that they could not even breathe properly. Think the biggest Thanksgiving meal you've ever eaten, plus another piece of pie. Even sage Durvasa's stomach was so full, it was full, pressing on his heart. There was only space for just a little air to go in and out, nothing else. His disciples said, we can't eat. It's strange. You said to Yudhishthira that we would come for food, but we don't feel like eating. Sage Durvasa said, strangely, me too. Let's quickly go away from here. We don't want to offend the Pandavas. The Pandavas are very dedicated to the Lord, to Mahavishnu, and I don't want to enrage the Lord by offending his devotees. And so as we think about change and we become aware of our attachments, what do we do with them? We ask for help. Just like Draupadi called Krishna, we can call upon Jesus. We can call upon whatever form of the Lord we like and take shelter at the feet of the Lord, asking for help. But just as we ask for that help, we also have to set aside our expectations. Because if Draupadi was expecting Krishna to fill that bowl with an unlimited quantity of food, that every time she served somebody, the bowl was still full until all 1,000 people were fed, what would have happened? But instead, he filled their bellies with a single leaf. And because Draupadi had no expectation of the outcome of asking for help, it was perfect. But how many times do we pray and ask for help from the divine to solve some problem or another, but the divine provides an answer that doesn't seem like what we'd imagined or envisioned or expected. And so we're unable to receive that love, that grace, that gift that comes from the divine. Now, maybe you're not like me, but I do this all the time. I pray for somebody because I want an outcome. But that's not what prayers are. Prayers are taking shelter at the feet of the Lord. Prayers are having your heart and your mind focused on the divine, trusting that the divine has, for every solution that you can think of to whatever problem you have, the divine may have a million more. And it never occurred to me that a single leaf could fill the bellies of the three worlds of heaven, earth, even hell. Because in our lives, we've sometimes felt like we were in hell. And even in hell, God is there and God hears our prayers. But do we sit still and go into the silence long enough to receive whatever guidance God is giving us? And my life has been filled with change. The Ukrainian families moved out. KP came back to Colorado and lived with me for the summer. Now he's moving to his own apartment in Denver where he's going to school. And my house has been silent, living alone, filled with noise and laughter and kids and crying and skin knees and all kinds of, how do I apply for this? And how do I get this? And doing stuff with school. And then it's silent again. If I'm attached to the silence, then I can't open my heart to the Ukrainian family that needed a home. And if I'm asked to let them go so that they can start their own life in Longmont, where they are now living, and I'm so attached to it, do I grieve because they're not here? Or do I celebrate that they're finding their way? And how do we do this? Now, this is, for me, letting go, and the brick analogy, like I know how to do it with the brick, but I don't know how to do it with some resentment I've carried for the last 10 years. How do I be detached and let go and yet remain compassionate and kind? Because detachment is not indifference. And I'm really trying to understand how I can let go of somebody I love when they die. How do I let go of a patient that graduates from the program that I might plan to check in with that mom and that kid, but life gets busy and I get new patients and on and on. So how do we do that? And if you know the answer, please immediately email me after this service. But that is the interesting piece with God. And so the only way to do that I know of is to, and I do it, I close my eyes and I see the feet of the Lord and I say, I take shelter at your feet. And I have a picture of the feet of the Lord on my home altar. And I say, I take shelter. And then all these things that I'm aware of, that I'm carrying around, I place at the feet of the Lord. And the people that I worry about, the Ukrainian family moving out and being on their own and a language barrier, my kids, whoever it is, someone who's sick that I'm praying for, or who's been on my mind, or the kids I work with, I imagine them as a small child, and I place them in the arms of Divine Mother. Because if I pray for them to get well, or I pray for their financial problems to go away, I'm taking away from the divine that opportunity to feed all the worlds with a single leaf, when I'm suggesting that what's best for that person is whatever I think is best. And the other people that I pray for, so I go into the grocery store, or I'm driving and I see somebody playing loud music and they're smoking, and I think, well, and what are they smoking? Are they safe to drive? Are they putting us, and I start judging, because I'm so good at it. And then I think at the end of the day about those people that I've judged, and I place them in the arms of Divine Mother, not because they need to change, but because I need to surrender them, because I need to let it go. Whatever I've, in this world, it's like I start out my day, and if I do my prayers and I do my meditation, and I ask the Lord that every action I take today is a prayer, because what we do in the world is the greatest prayer that we have. And it's the funniest thing when you do this on a regular basis. I went to the grocery store and I had 5 things on my list, and I'm in the produce section. And for some reason, this man stops me and tells me his life story. He was probably in his mid-70s, and he tells me when his mother died, when he was a young child, when he was a kid, and that she worked, and it was when X-rays first came out and she had been exposed to radiation. And he tells me his life story, and I'm listening, and I thought, what am I supposed to do? Like, I was just baffled. So I just listened, and I acknowledged that the divine asked me to be here to hear this story for whatever reason. And that night, I could place that man in the arms of Divine Mother to give him whatever it is that he needs. But when your heart is open, the day, I guarantee you, will be filled with surprises, whatever they may be, of the kindness of strangers, or the ability to catch yourself right when you start judging, not when you get home in the car and say, oh. And it gives you the ability not to take in the energy of the environment. So if people at a staff meeting are bickering, or there's a lot of negativity, and you start your day with that attitude that everything I do today is a prayer, then you don't have to engage in that negativity. You don't have to be bothered by somebody who has different political beliefs than you do. You don't have to watch. And there is that ability to have compassion. But even then, I have to say, often my compassion is still mixed with judgment, because I'll think to myself, I'm glad I don't wake up every day thinking that or feeling that way. And I think, oh, another judgment, another judgment. And, just continually working on surrendering that. But as we surrender our judgments, I'll speak for myself again, on those days when I do better than most, I'm happier, because it doesn't matter if somebody wears plaid and checks and, plaid pants that are too small and a check top that doesn't match, mixing, royal colors with pastels, or whatever they did that day with their outfit. If I just notice it and I think the divine is within them, then I can smile and say, good morning, Jesus, because I know Jesus is in them. Or good morning, Divine Mother, no matter how they dress or whatever words come out of their mouth. I don't have to take it in. I can just be in touch with the divine and place everything at the feet of the Lord. And it's interesting to work in a job like nursing where burnout rates are high. When I'm consistent about my practice, my job doesn't wear me out. When I stop doing my meditation and I'm not focused on the divine, I am often exhausted. And I find that so fascinating how just that small 5 minutes of setting the intention in the morning to open my heart, to have all of my actions be a prayer or an offering to God, then it seems like God takes all the heat, so to speak, all of the energy, all of that negativity that can come from being around people that carry negativity with them. And I will say that if you want to practice this, the King Supers on 23rd in Maine has some funky energy in it. And so if you want to practice keeping your heart open and letting go of judgment and negativity and keeping your focus on your heart, and walk through that store, and each person you see, smile and think, good morning or good afternoon, Jesus or Divine Mother. It's a great, great practice. So I think I've chatted quite a while today. So I will skip the meditation and I will turn the mic back to Deva. Thank you for being here and inviting me to be with you here today.
Thank you, Jenny, for such a wonderful talk and all of your demonstration of your own personal journey. That always hits home. And we will hear from Christina. Christina, thank you. Words are not enough to express how much that impacts us all. At this time, let us go into a brief donation of love and light by taking a breath together and placing our hands on our heart. We become increasingly aware that we are love and light. That is our essence. We become aware of this love, this light, and our ability to share it with others. And we notice the sharing does not cost us a thing. There is a constant replenishment of this love and this light. With each breath, we can remind ourselves of this gift. And for this gift and all others, we say thank you. And we will finish with music from Christina.